Ime Udoka has been suspended as head coach for the Boston Celtics for having an improper, intimate relationship with a female staff member of the team staff. However, we are slowly learning that whatever happened may not have been entirely consensual, and after all, it may not have been the exec's wife. The nature of sexual misconduct scandals is that the details are always slow to fill in. However, the Celtics issued his suspension for the entire season, while the substantive information on Udoka's actual transgressions remains a mystery to both the public as well as the players. And in the weeks since the news broke, in some ways it's rather impressive how the Celtics have managed to prevent any leaks. The Celtics staff knew about the relationship as early as July of 2022, but did not take any action due to the belief that it was a totally consensual relationship. However, the woman involved recently began to tell others that Udoka was making unwanted comments toward her. This crossed the boundary of already improper relationship, and the Celtics decided to launch an investigation that they concluded that it was a relationship which violated several team guidelines and merited a 1-year suspension for Udoka effective immediately. A lot of people are saying that the sentence is too harsh. Well, here it is. There's actually some legal implications, but before we get into it, this is the legal code. It's a channel dedicated to discussing various legal topics, and occasionally we touch on the misbehaviors of celebrities, but only in so much as you can learn from it and apply it to your life. That is always my goal whenever I do this video. And if you like that sort of thing, please don't forget to like and subscribe and share with anyone else you think will find value. Also, I am a real life attorney, so if you would like the opportunity to speak with me one-on-one to discuss your estate plan, your business plan, whether or not you're in a legal implication and you have some issues you would like to troubleshoot, we can set up a consultation. The link is in the description box. Now, without further ado, let's discuss this. So Ime Udoka signed a contract with the Boston Celtics, a family-owned franchise, that stipulated that we expect our team members, our managers, our execs, and the like to act in a certain way, and we will not tolerate any deviation from appropriate conduct or behavior. So essentially, they have a code of conduct. The Celtics' decision to suspend Udoka came after a months-long investigation into his conduct by an independent law firm. This is not new to the Celtics. It may seem out of place because we are so used to athletes misbehaving with impunity. But the Celtics say, if you work for us, if you play for us, we don't care if you're an executive or if you are our star player, we have a different set of rules from everyone else, and you will be focused, faithful to this franchise that signs your paycheck. What has been leaked is that the coach engaged in a problematic sexual relationship with the exec's wife or not. We're still learning who the actual woman is. And so we also don't know whether or not it was consensual. But let's imagine that it was consensual and it was the exec's wife. That act was nothing short of professional suicide. He bit into the forbidden fruit, and the husband will make sure he suffers for it. He will drag him over the hot coals because he can, and he'll make sure he feels it in his pocket. His arms are too short to box with God, which is what he should have known and had the discipline to restrain himself. There's a hierarchy in the NBA. The players and the coaches get all the glory and attention and adoration from the fans. But the real power lies at the feet of the owners and execs. And Ime was batting out of his league if it is the case that it is the exec's wife. So to make an example out of him, he will make sure he feels his wrath. And where do men feel it most? In their pockets. The CEO of the Celtics even intimated that the disgraced coach will have a financial hit. And that means he may not be paid for the year of suspension. Code of conducts are all around this. The Celtics are not unique in this. Many companies have it codified that they will not tolerate intimate relationships at work or extramarital affairs at work, and that both parties will be terminated. Why? Because it's a distraction and to protect the company, as well as insulate the company from lawsuit. So in the event there is a power dynamic where there's a subordinate having an affair with an executive, it can't be clear whether or not it's consensual, or it could be masqueraded as consensual but actually be sexual harassment or sexual assault. So even though two parties can begin with a consensual relationship, when does it shift? Human resources have no way of knowing the true dynamic, which is why it's forbidden from the beginning, so that impropriety is avoided across the board. Of course, people disregard this and they engage in this conduct at work, but they know the risk. So when they are terminated, it's a legitimate, non-discriminatory termination, and most employment is at will, so there's no leg for them to stand on and try to say that the termination is wrongful. Again, the Celtics are not alone with having code of conducts. Dave Ramsey also has a code of conduct for his company, Dave Ramsey Solution. Now, if you're not aware, Dave Ramsey is a Christian radio personality, author, motivational speaker who sells a get-out-of-debt formula. His philosophy about money all stems from the Bible, and so he operates his company from the same Judeo-Christian lens. And he is very vocal that he runs a Christian company. For instance, if you work for him, he does not condone out-of-wedlock births or extramarital affairs or premarital sex in the workplace as well as outside of the workplace. Your guess is as good as mine how he finds out, but I'm assuming most people tell on themselves. And so he has a zero tolerance policy for this type of behavior, and he puts that on Twitter, that if you have an affair and he finds about it, he'll fire you. And people always clamor and say, won't you get sued for that? And he says, no, I'm allowed to discriminate against infidelity. He has the right to tell his employees that they have to leave because of this, because he operates in an employee at will state, which means that an employer can terminate an employee at any time for any reason except an illegal one, or for no reason at all, without incurring any liability. And the inverse is true, that an employee can walk away from a job without any reason, or for no reason at all, without any liability. It's twofold. So Dave says if he catches wind of you being dishonest, husband or wife, he'll fire you. And his rationale is, if your spouse can't trust you, I can't trust you. To boot, Dave Ramsey says that it has fired at least 9 employees in the recent years for having premarital sex. One of those fired actually brought a federal lawsuit saying that she was fired because she was pregnant. Now, Dave Ramsey defended its action and said that the firing actually happened because of her engaging in premarital sex, not due to the pregnancy. And as you know, pregnancy is a protected class, and it's protected under the FMLA as well as federal law. So a firing due to pregnancy is absolutely illegal. However, Ramsey said that it fired the woman for violating the righteous living policy in the code of conduct, not because she became pregnant. Since January 2016, the Human Resources Committee has decided to terminate every employee who has engaged in premarital sex, and most were men and therefore not pregnant. The company's attorney said that the employee was aware of this policy because she wrote an email acknowledging that premarital sex and pregnancy is frowned upon in the company, which showed an acknowledgement of the Dave Ramsey premarital sex ban and an admission that she violated it. According to Dave Ramsey's solution, should a team member engage in behavior not consistent with traditional Judeo-Christian values or teaching, it will damage the image and the value of our goodwill and our brand. Now, this case is still in the middle of discovery, so we don't necessarily know the outcome yet. But what I will tell you is that in previous cases like this, there's a reluctance for courts to sit in judgment of super personnel departments and oversee corporate decisions. Even if some judges think the decisions are perplexing or silly, it is out of bounds of discrimination. Courts are going to allow it. They're not going to sit as pseudo managers and tell companies how to run their companies and tell them what code of conducts are inappropriate, even if they think they're silly. So that is the precedent. If Ime Udoka thinks he can fight this in court, the outcome for him will not be favorable. The Celtics do have the upper hand in it, both historically and financially as well. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think the Celtics are reaching too far? Do you think that they made the right call in suspending their head coach? And what do you think? Do you think the NBA is handling this appropriate? Let me know. And let me know about your company's code of conduct if you have one. All comments are welcome, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.